And a very warm welcome back to day one of the Para-Dressage here at the FEI World Equestrian Games. This is the second of our tests here. It is grade 2 that we will be enjoying over the next hour or so. And what a competition in prospect. Some of the best combinations and some of the best riders who have graced the grade 2 division in recent years are lining up here this afternoon. We've had a fabulous opening with the grade 4 won by Holland and Sanne Weerts. Well, first to go will be a lady from Holland, Nicole den Dulk, in the 9 riders taking part in this grade 2 individual test. And amongst the big names, back in the big times, Sir Lee Pearson with Styletta, his homebred, the very popular Danish riders Stina Tagger Kastrup and Pepe Pooch will be last to go. But with a new horse at this World Equestrian Games, Sailor's Blue, what will he be able to produce? He was in fantastic form with his previous horse, winning last year's European Championships. So it's going to be a very fascinating hour and a bit here to see who will win the second of our gold medals on offer today. Well, the weather, well, thankfully Florence has gone and actually left us with a very warm day now. It's dry, little breeze has freshened from this morning, just 6 miles an hour, but that is barely nothing. But as you can see from the temperatures, we've gone up a little bit from this morning to around about 28 degrees centigrade, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. A very pleasant Carolina day. Thankfully, the bad weather of last week has long since gone, and we're settling down now for what should be an intriguing afternoon sport, because also we have the grade 5 medal up for grabs as well this afternoon. Different format slightly in that the individual competitions are first up, and then we'll have the team competition on Thursday and Friday, and that will be followed by the freestyle on Saturday. So it's an action-packed program as over these few days of the World Equestrian Games. Lots going on around, and the Dutch there out in force, as is their wont when supporting their riders. They've already got 1 gold medal to boot today, and could Nicole den Dulk be a rider to do something similar this afternoon? There on the banked area around this Tryon Stadium here in Tryon, for the venue for these World Equestrian Games. This site that in times to come will be certainly developed into a brilliant long-term equestrian centre, but is providing some fabulous sport already in the various disciplines that have been contested, whether it be dressage, with obviously Germany having such a memorable week, although the freestyle sadly had to be cancelled because of Florence eventing and the raining. But now here we go with grade 2, the first of the riders coming in to this superb arena with the Blue Mountains as a backdrop in the distance, away in the distance, providing a spectacular setting. And the first of the riders coming in. Now, Sanne Weerts blew the judges away with her display first in the arena, and in fact there was just less than 1 percentage point separating the first 3 riders. And if we get something similar, then we're in for a treat. And there is Nicole den Dulk just smiling away as she comes into the arena, and she's on Wallace NOP. Now, they were second in last year's Euros. They were at the Rio Olympics as well, so they are a vastly experienced combination. And obviously the Dutch expecting a big week, and obviously not only in this, the individual, but maybe as far as the team competition is concerned, as they try and perhaps prevent Britain winning yet another team gold medal. So all to play for, and this could set the tone for the week with the Dutch. So Wallace NOP, the 15-year-old gelding, coming into the arena for the 37-year-old, will be coming down very shortly. Now, interestingly, we got the first 4 from last year's European Championships in the field, although some are riding different combinations here this afternoon, including Jana Kivamaki and Peppo Puch, the gold medal winner, are on different horses. So different dynamic, but it just shows you the quality of the riders that we have here this afternoon. So we're set. The next hour and 15 minutes or so, hour and 20 minutes, we should see some high class grade 2 para-dressage here, and Nicole just settling the horse down, and her test begins. Can she set the tempo for the rest and provide a strong starting point? You would expect so. Into the trot. And just looking at the scores as they start to come through, getting an indication of the kind of percentage mark that she is scoring. And in the working trot, they gave her 7.1 as an average across our 5 drudges. Just to let you know who they are, we have Mark Urban from Belgium, he's at E. Marco Orsini from Germany, H. Henneke Gerritsen of the Netherlands at C. Sarah Leach is now at M from Great Britain, and Suzanne Cunningham from Australia. She's in the B box here. So the marks all pretty solid, around about the 7 for Nicole. Into the halt, and then just gently sending him on his way, responding. And the way they work the classifications, 1 to 5, the less disabled at 5 to the most severe at 1. And obviously the tests vary, adapting to the grade. Into the trot. Again, everything's around about the 7, just providing a consistent opening salvo in the second of the classifications today. Good circle left, 7.7. Haven't seen a mark across the, never had anything above 8 today. Plenty of 7s. It was in the grade 4, and today what we're seeing is everything 7 and better at the moment, so this is a good start. You need it because, as I say, this is a very competitive contest. May only be 9, but you'd think that 4 or 5 will be, or maybe more, will be having medal aspirations. Key aspect also, one sadly of this entry here won't be making it through to the freestyle. It's A2 go forward. Medium walk just below, 6.8 for that on an average. So she's just setting a mark that looks as if she's in the lowish 70% at the moment, just over 70%. Just the odd negative score coming in, but again keeping it around about the 7. Just keeping it all around about the same. 7, the medium walk now into the, down the side of the arena, trotting now. Pretty smooth. And coming down to the centre line, and Nicole Dendulk is the first of our 9 riders to complete their test in this Grade 2 in the Adequan sponsored Para-Dressage here at the World Equestrian Games in the Tryon Stadium, surrounded by the hospitality area and the tented, well, I suppose a cabined village rather than tented village here, as we await the score to see what kind of mark she set. It looks as if it will be sort of in the 70s, but maybe not much beyond 70, perhaps 71. And just waving once again to her support group on that green bank. There they are. Performance director on the left. They're always so loyal. You never see them fail to turn up to support. It's part of the great team spirit that accompanies the Netherlands team. There's her score, 70.735. Just the judge at M a little bit more circumspect, but 70.735. That's a good opening, but will it be enough? You just feel that that might not be enough at this stage to put her into a gold medal winning position, but it might be medal winning as an opening effort. Well, now rider number 2 has made his way into the arena from Italy. Maurilio Vicario is in, and from Italy. And he is riding a 17-year-old. It's actually his birthday tomorrow. The 50-year-old Italian will be heading to 51 tomorrow, his birthday. And he's riding Bonaire van de Modelhof. And they've will be sort of a score in the high 60s, probably, judging by the kind of performances that he's been putting in. So medal proposition probably not on the cards. The team will be of interest, but here he begins, coming in. So rider number 2 on his way. Opening score 70.735 from the 37-year-old Dutch rider Nicole Dendulk to beat. Obviously with this rider, it's all about the upper body and the control that he can exert and the commands. And the scores are, as I mentioned, in the 60s, solid enough from his perspectives. Around about 68 is where he's pitching his early results, so slightly to form, but it's a nice looking haul. duly rewarded with a 7.3 average. You have to keep the horse still for 5 seconds. Working Trot getting duly rewarded again, about 6.9, keeping around about the 68% mark. These marks just slipping down a bit, medium or not so good. Sure there's a medal winner, but I think it could be a very good score from Aurelio Vaccaro's point of view with his horse. I think we'll be very pleased with it. He's always going to be amongst the outsiders amongst this very strong field of Grade 2 riders, but he's shown a good steadiness, and the 50-year-old Italian finishes and salutes, and his job is done. And I think he knows he's made a bit of a mistake, and I think that's what he's a little bit frustrated with himself. With that mistake, the error on course, and that was the bash of the head. Now trying to regroup. So that will feel a little costly. Well, he's happy with his horse. I think he's more disappointed with himself more than anything with that mistake at the end, and you can see it on the face for Aurelio Vaccaro, that mistake, and a rueful shake of the head, and he's wondering, how did that happen? And another slap on the thigh in frustration. But the margins, rider error, I think that's the first one we've seen today, but all the same, it was disappointing. So obviously that is going to just have some costly aspect to his score. As I say, it would all look to it was going to be around about the 67, but I wonder what the final score is. Nicole Dendork, of course, sitting out in front, rider number 1, who going in 70.735. So we'll wait on Maurilio Vaccaro's score with his horse Bonaire van der Mottelhoeve, being given a sympathetic hand by his other supporters as he comes out of the arena here in Tryon. And the score, as I say, costly in the end. And there is the mark, 65.743. 65.743 is the score for Maurilio, and with some mistakes along the way, hence the reason why he's ended up with that score. So 65.743, and confirming Nicole Dendork's score of 70.735 is our leader. Now we come to rider number 3 of 9. Now it is another Japanese rider, and obviously again it's all about experience, and we think that he's definitely in this category. Soshi Yoshigawa, riding a 12-year-old mare Brown Sugar, and was competing in an event where he finished 8th in an event earlier this year, won by Nicole Dendork. He scored 62.450 in that competition earlier this year. So again, not expected to be amongst the medals, but maybe in Soshi's case, it's a case, can he make it through to the freestyle final? Obviously, we'll be competing as far as the team is concerned as well later in the week. I've been a little long in the hole there, but 6.1 round about the scoring he is picking up, and just got 5 for that halt. More some movement as well, isn't it? These trots are a bit better. But again, nothing getting into consistent in the high 6s. The score looks as if he could be around about the 60%. So much for the Japanese planning is to get it right for Tokyo. And those young riders young horses. The eventing proving to be a revelation, finishing yesterday. Big step up in occasion for the Japanese rider. Just the whole atmosphere, the being part of such a big event, but you have to learn and get used to these, and that's what they are doing. And relishing the prospect too of competing on home soil. We talked to some Americans earlier who were competing in the Grade 4, and just such an honor and a privilege to be part of it, because it may be, as they say, once in a lifetime opportunity for the Japanese rider. That, bearing in mind that the last Olympics was back in 1964 that they had there. So, but even for the para riders, they know this is a very special chance, and so something will be driving them forward, and this will be part of that learning curve. So, the end of the test for Soshi Yoshigawa from Japan. I think he looks so pleased to have completed, and he's very happy with what he's achieved. Again, it's not necessarily going to be one that's going to be a high, but it's just something that into the experience bank, and well played, Soshi. But the score probably looks as if it's going to be in the low 60s, and maybe hope that he can make it through to the freestyle, giving a warm hand by spectators here as he exits the arena. Well, wait on his score. Next, we got a birthday girl coming in. Chloe Mislin from France. But waiting on the score for Soshi Yoshigawa, rider number 3. Waving away for some supporters. And in comes the French rider as Soshi goes out, and just waiting on the score to see where that's put him. And let's see, as the judges wait the score. Hasn't come through as yet. We still look at Chloe there with her horse, and she is riding Don Caruso, 12-year-old gelding. Still waiting on the score. And there is Chloe. Not sure why we are still waiting on the score, being a little tardy with that score, but I'm delighted to say is Natasha Baker, is joining me now, the GB team member in our commentary position here. We got the score, 61.088. There is the score for Soshi Yoshigawa. I won't ask Natasha about that test because she was trying to get up here. But anyway, there is the score, 61.088. And delighted to say we're being reunited. Natasha, welcome to our commentary position overlooking the arena here.
Hello.
Hello, nice to see you again. How's your horse first up? Let's get down to the nitty-gritty because you're first up tomorrow morning.
I am, yeah. First in at 9:30.
Well, look at Sana.
It worked for Sana,
yes.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm keeping fingers crossed.
Not sure it's going to work for Nicole, though.
No? What happened? I didn't see the test.
Well, she got 70.735.
Okay.
I'm not sure that that's going to be enough given the quality of this field.
Well, we'll see. I think that's, a good score to throw down in the first place.
Absolutely.
So, we've got some strong competitors in this class, though, so we'll see.
Well, this is the birthday girl, Chloe Mislin.
Is it her birthday?
It is the 18th of September today, isn't it?
It is.
And I did do some checking.
Yep, it's my nan's birthday today, too.
Well,
so,
happy birthday, your nan, if your nan is watching. But I will say that Chloe Mislin, and actually Maurilio Vicario's birthday is tomorrow. So
all the birthday, and it was Sana's yesterday.
So I don't know what's been going on, but anyway, let's watch Chloe Mislin now begin her test. She's on Don Caruso. She scored 67.735 in a competition won by Lee with Stiletto, his horse that he's going to be riding next into the arena. So we will be expecting high 60s, and to get technical on the test. I mean, obviously it's about the trot, it's about the walk, and it's about the steadiness, and that's what we saw from Nicole. Whoops, and just losing it there, losing a little bit of control. Suddenly wanted to let the brakes off. So, but she regained composure very quickly there.
Yeah, some really good riding there. This is a really fiddly test. There's so many transitions, and it's really, really hard, especially with these riders who have got, quite severe disabilities. It's quite hard to keep the horse in front of your leg whilst you're doing all of the transitions. Yes, because obviously and there was an example. Suddenly the horse might suddenly want to go and do something else, and if you get the command just slightly wrong, but it is, as you say, quite intricate, and it's patience, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. This test takes a lot of riding, and the way that it's set out now, we're actually doing the harder test in the nice square hold. Yeah, very nice. 5-second hold, should be. Was that about 5? I would say that was a generous 5. 1 elephant, 2 elephants. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you have to do, count elephants, yes. Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, this is a much difficult test than the team test that they're going to be performing on Thursday and Friday. So you're actually riding the more difficult test first and then the easier test later on in the week. But that was a really nice leg yield there, keeping nice and parallel. And is that for all the competition this week? All of the competition, so yeah, every grade. So if you want to put it in able-bodied terms, so it's the equivalent of riding the Grand Prix special on the first day and then the Grand Prix the second day. So call this a Grand Prix special. So this is the Grand Prix special, para version. Well, straight in at the deep end, basically. Yeah, basically. New format. What are the riders? It feels good this way. Yeah, I like the fact that the individual is decided on the individual medals and the team is decided on the team test, whereas before it was the combination of the team test and the individual test that decided the medals. And so I think it's a lot more interesting to watch from this perspective. However, I do think they should keep it the same and do the team test the first 2 days and do the individual test the second 2 days, because I just think it makes more sense to go in and ride the easier test first and then ride the more difficult test later. And obviously we do want to try and replicate the able-bodied way as well, and that's how they do it. So I'm not quite sure, but this is a new format, like you said, and there's bound to be teething issues to begin with, so it's something that I think the FEI will look into. It's everything that the sport is evolving and absolutely, because the quality is also getting so much better. We saw that grade 4 won by just less than 1% separating the top 4. Yeah, which is fantastic sport, and that's what you want to see. Again, another leg yield here. So you have to ride half of the way down the long side straight and then start the leg yield from the EB line in the middle. So she did that really nicely. She kept the straightness, she kept her outside shoulder and rode some nice leg yield steps. there's not a massive overtrack in that walk, and I'd like to just see it a little bit bigger, a bit more stretch.
Look, I've got the scoreboard down there. It takes some seeing, I can assure you, but it's around about 7 she's scoring for that working trot, averaging about 66. It is saying around here on the score.
Yeah, there's been a few irregularities, more so in the trot than the walk, but the quality of the trot is there. I don't know how new this partnership is, but you know, the trot there is really nice and forward. She rode a nice fluent serpentine. I just want to see the contact a little bit more steady. Nice transitions. So the overtrack you can see is, so when the front hoof, you want the hind hoof to overtake the footprint of the front one. And this one's just about tracking up.
Yeah, just a little short, feels at times.
Nice stretch there, though, in the free walk. Again, some riders in this grade can struggle with letting the rein go and collecting it back up again. You can see she's riding in the double bridle, but with a joint rein. So the snaffle attaches to the curb, and then she just has the one rein to hold, which is a lot easier. Some nice steps of medium there. Again, looking a little bit difficult for this rider, but the horse gave it its best. It seems like a really honest horse.
Well, coming down the centre line.
A little bit wobbly into the halt, but good riding.
Well, she's happy, and that is birthday girl Chloe Mislin from France, with Don Caruso giving the horse a big hug, as so many do, but I think she looks pretty happy. Is that going to be, as you can see, the around about 66 is what we're seeing. We've got Nicole Dendulka out in front at the moment.
Yeah, she's got around 66.8% at the moment, so I would guess that would go up to around 67 with the collection marks at the end.
Always a little bit higher at the end when we have the benefit of a tracking scoring system. And probably good enough. Well, it will mean that we'll overtake Aurelio Vicario, Shashi Yoshigoa around 61.088. So now there will be a frisson of excitement emanating through your commentary here, I think, because
I don't know what you're talking about.
The knight of the realm is coming into the arena.
We call him Surly.
which
wind the Sir and the Lee in together, Surly.
But he's Sir Lee by name and eccentric by character.
Yes, definitely.
Much, but has done so much over the years. But he's back now with a horse that was a homebred, and we refer to Sir Lee Pearson and Styletta, just 9 years of age. So basically knowing it's a big challenge when you're bringing a horse for the first time, and a 9-year-old, and he brought this horse on, and I think he's just confirmed the score, 66.706 of Chloe Mislin, just to confirm that score on screen, 66.76, in line with what we thought. So that puts her into current silver medal position, but I'm pretty sure that's going to change. Now, obviously you've been around the camp, and having spoken to him yesterday myself, there is an element of you're not quite sure, but how is the horse taking to life in the big time here in the States?
Well, Lee said to me his aim was to stay on, and I think, you know, he's being a little bit hard on himself here. You know, she's a mega horse, and she's got so much talent that sometimes she can get a little bit overexcited, and then the tension creeps in a little bit, and you know, it can affect her in a negative way. But she looks so relaxed today in this arena. We rode in this arena yesterday, and she looked mega. I mean, I was riding at the same time, so it's hard to see.
Well, I was around down at the same time, and the horse came past and was presenting a wonderful picture. Now, this, though, is a different story than a warm-up, because you've had a long time and a sense of anticipation, but the multi-gold medalist, I think it's 30 that he stands from when he was competing back in 1999 in Denmark.
Too many.
You're just jealous. But anyway, your time might come. But I have to say, let's see how he's starting. Give us your thoughts. And I need you to be as objective as possible.
Of course. No, I will be. No, that was a really nice start. It looked like a square hole. Oh, no, what's happened?
You said about the spooking, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't know quite what she was looking at there, but that's
there's another horse. There's a horse.
Yeah, so Lee's opted to have a friendly horse because he was worried about the mare getting tense. So whether she just spotted something that's really uncharacteristic actually. Although she can get tense, she very rarely spooks. But the horse is really fluent, it's really forward, and he absolutely loves this mare. I don't know whether it's because he bred her himself, but they've got a really, really good rapport. This is a really good walk.
Well, you can see the horse just there in the corner. You can see the little grey in the corner. But must be. Well, he's so experienced. Obviously, he's seen that, but obviously he's just got to put that behind him, go regroup, and
yeah, absolutely.
Little
just
costly.
Left her right hind out there in the halt, and just obviously crept above the bit a little bit. Now she really loves these leg yields. One of her specialities, keeping nice and straight down the 3/4 line, not starting too early. He's really concentrating. Look at that face.
Yeah, well.
Some lovely steps sideways.
Well, the scores are coming around about 6.8, and the score's creeping up 64%. Obviously, he's got to really keep the quality up, and now we're into the 7th in score on that quarter line.
Yeah, a little bit early in that transition at C in front of the judge, but into a lovely fluent trot. This isn't the best I've seen the mare go, but I think that little spook at the beginning, I think he just wants to give her a nice round. She's so expressive, this mare, and like I said earlier, she can offer too much sometimes.
And obviously the team competition very much mind. This might actually just help get her used to the occasion.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Preparation for Thursday. And indeed the freestyle. Looking at the scores, the 7s, they're creeping up. Remember the leading score at the moment, 70.735, so it's going to have to probably keep the standard up. It's just maybe showing a bit of experience, the horse. Yeah,
there's some tension creeping in. That's a much better walk there. She's really stretching out now. She's looking much more relaxed. You don't get a lot of time at championships to work around the outside of the arena, and the bell goes pretty quickly. Oh, again, another little jog. That will be quite expensive. But some nice crossing. Losing the quarters a little bit at the end.
Well, it's a young horse, has obviously got a bright future, but
definitely
just the experience.
Oh, and
you can see the horse.
Styles, naughty gal. Oh, he's retiring.
Yep.
What a pity.
So, just not Styletter's day. So Lee deciding that it's just not working for him. He looks bitterly disappointed.
He actually worked the mare in a double bridle yesterday, so I'm not quite sure. I didn't really get much time to speak to him this morning, so I'm not quite sure where the decision came to ride her in a snaffle today. But I have a feeling he might change it for the team test.
Well, what it does mean that he won't be competing in the freestyle either.
No.
Because there are 9. So basically, part of the inexperience maybe of the horse, but obviously a disappointing conclusion, and that will be disappointing. And a rather dejected looking Lee Pearson leaving the arena, and the team around. Great expectations, but obviously Lee will be bitterly disappointed. But you've got to put it into the experience bank. The horse just never seemed to, right from the start, you never felt you weren't. You could see the horse wasn't happy.
I think it probably felt a lot worse than it actually was to Lee. I mean, he definitely could have finished that test, but I think he wanted to give the mare the best experience that he could. But that's so uncharacteristic of her. I've never ever seen her do that before. Well, I don't think Mark Urban has either, by his reaction. But yeah, I'm not quite sure where that come from, and it was the same place both times that she did it. So I don't know whether she spotted something that we can't see. But yeah, very odd behaviour.
Well, the horse was in that corner. It was both times facing towards where the horse was, and away from our commentary position, but it was difficult to see. They're the judges looking, and Mark Urban, he's the judge at E. That is one of the other judges of the round, but so disappointing. It won't be a golden day for Lee Pearson. And obviously being retired, it means that all these 8 now remaining riders, and maybe just trying to adjust the scoring as well. So disappointing for Lee, and obviously from a team perspective, a little bit of regrouping when you're looking ahead to the team scenario, and that obviously need him to work what any quirk's got to try and get out of the system before Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a day of training tomorrow, so I'm sure he will be experimenting with a few different bits there. He'll be chatting it through with the team, but yeah, I think it would have knocked his confidence quite a bit, and yeah, it's a real pity, but I think, you know, he's got so much experience that he can turn this around.
As far as the team competition, there's 4 of you here, but it'd be like the 3 best scores anyway. Is that the way?
Yeah. So we'll have
works?
Yeah, we'll have 1 drop score, but then obviously it does put pressure on the other 3 riders. So you want to have no pressure, Natasha, but you know, you've got. You've got 3 scores that count in the 4, so you want 4 clear rounds, really. So, but you know, Lee is Lee. You know, he's not Sir Lee for no reason.
Absolutely,
and he can come back from this.
I'm sure he will, and I'm sure there is plenty of time. But it has, well, it's something of a surprise, and it's left Nicole Dendulk sitting.
She'll be happy.
She will be happy. Because obviously we've only got 4 more riders to go, and I would suggest 2 of them will be having aspirations of, Stinner, Kastrup from Denmark, Pepe Puig, Marcos Fernandez Alvarez from Brazil. But this rider in now on this grey is Jana Kivimaki, and she was 4th in the European Championships last year, but it was on a different horse, and she's only been riding this horse for a year. It's been getting around about 64%, so you just don't feel that this necessarily is a medal-winning competition this year for the Finnish rider.
No, I think they were out when I was competing in Varugam earlier this year, and like you said, a really new partnership. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go today. And
obviously, again, another one who's elected to have a horse standing at the side of the arena. Explain more why this is something that they do. Is it just to have the horse there? What would be the thought process, and why you need it for this particular horse or other horses?
When you warm up, obviously you're warming up with plenty of other horses, and then outside the bridge, so we come through the bridge into the arena, there's 2 other warm-up boxes, which is a 10-minute box and a 20-minute box. So you've always got horses around you, and then you're coming into this arena, which is pretty vast, and you're all on your own, and that can be quite intimidating for some horses. So you can choose, and this is only for grade 1, 2 or 3, you can choose to have a friendly horse there. So it just means that it gives the horse a bit of confidence to know that it's not on its own. It's something I opted to do out in Rio, and it depends kind of on the horse really and how settled they are. I have never had it with my new horse Diva. A horse just broke into canter then, that's a shame. I've never had it with Diva.
At the same time, same place, same sort of area where Lee was having his spooky problems, just by B.
There must be a Pokemon in the bushes or something popping out at them. But yeah, you can opt to have that, and it is something that I've opted to do with Diva tomorrow morning, because she likes other horses being around, and it's just, yeah, it gives you confidence to know that actually they're not in this big arena all on their own.
And is that a horse that you just say to the authority here, they provide the horse? How does it work?
You can choose another horse from your nation, and Lee will be using Sophie Wells's horse, but because Sophie Wells hasn't competed yet, she didn't want her horse to come in here under this environment when it hadn't been in here under a competition environment yet. So we're stabled with Canada, and the Canadians Grade 1 rider offered to be a friendly horse today for Lee. So, but George is going to be Diva's friendly horse for me tomorrow.
George being
Sophie Wells's horse. So See Fatal Attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is competing in the next? So
in the next class.
So anyway, back to
this one.
Indeed.
Shame about the canter. Yep. Just losing the quarters the first couple of steps there, but regaining it towards the end of that leg yield. Again, the horse just isn't travelling forward enough in the walk. When you start a movement like a leg yield or an 8-metre circle or anything like that, you want to keep the momentum of the walk going, and the horse just dropped back off of her leg in that leg yield. But it's all stations go now in the trot, and she's got a really nice rhythm.
Sort of round about the 61% mark, so it just reflects that this is a new combination. And again, it's a big occasion. It is what your other events you go to, while they're significant, there's not going to be just the buzz and the noise. It's on a smaller scale.
And we're at the World Equestrian Games, so you know you've got the best in the world, and they're going to be probably a little bit more harsh than they would be at a normal international. The trot that the rider just had in the 20-metre circle there was really nice. It was really elevated. Just like to see it a little bit more steady in the contact.
Well, she's getting some 7s now, so her score has gone a little bit up, so that's reflecting a little bit of improvement.
This is a better rhythm now in the walk. There's just some inconsistencies in the contact. The horse isn't really pushing enough from behind, and that's a really difficult thing to achieve when the rider, I know this rider is paralysed, so it's a really difficult thing when you haven't got the use of your leg to get the horse engaged from the hind leg into the bridle. Again, another rider opting to use a double bridle with split reins into one, and better transition into the leg yield. Again, just lacking a little bit of impulsion into the leg yield.
And you can see the 2 whips.
Yep.
Explain how she's just using them as gentle sort of aids, aren't
they? So when you're a para rider, you can have something called a compensating aid. So this rider can't use her leg, so the whips are there to basically be her legs. So she can use them as she would her leg. And again, a little late transition there. The horse just refusing to go into trot, which will affect her. We had a good shot of you could see every time she wanted, almost like when you use your leg to kick and get your horse to respond, using it with a gentle little, flicking just gently to say, now, this is what I need you to do. And you can see it almost there. You can see an indication of how she's using it. Yeah. And sometimes with a whip, you don't even have to touch the horse. My old horse was absolutely petrified of a whip, and I never actually touched him with it, but just he knew that I had it in my hand, and that can be as effective as using them. So round about 60% she's looking at, 61%. So this combination's showing their relative inexperience at this level, but clearly Jana is a high-class rider in her own right, but it does take time for combinations to work, and you've been working your every hour God send. Be careful how I say that phrase. But you've been working very hard. You've been working very hard to not say a race against time, but to get a horse that is right. It's not easy, and it's really difficult. Well, that's why you come through the grade. It's a long process, and that's what people think can just turn up and do it. And Lee Pearson thinks just because it's Lee, he's going through the same sort of birthing process with a new horse as anybody else, and there will be the ups and downs. But coming through to complete is the Finnish rider Jana Kivimäki, and a sort of big sigh there at the end. A sort of, we got through that, but we were living on the edge, and that shake of the head I think also suggests
that she knew that times they were living on the edge, but they got through.
Yeah, she had a really nice medium trot actually at the end there. This horse has got a lot of cadence, and I think if she can sort the connection out, she's going to be in for some really high marks. But yeah, as you said, it's still really early days for this partnership, and you know, you never know what next year can bring at the Europeans.
Well, and then obviously there's round the corner 2 years hence, off to Tokyo.
Yeah, the big one.
The big one. Well, at the moment, this is as very significant weeks in the sport. The 2 big weeks of the year, of course, here in the World Equestrian Games at the World Championships, and then the Olympics, the pinnacle of the sport. And now, while this inexperienced combination exit the arena, not only is she hugely popular, but this combination are hugely successful in their own right, and there will be a lot of people thinking this might be a golden opportunity for the next rider as we await the score to see where Jana Kivimaki has finished on, and just waiting on that score. Just the 3 more to go in this grade 2.
And we've got 2 potential medal contenders in those 3.
Yes, but Pepper is riding a new horse as well. And we've seen what's happened. So still waiting on the score, but now it is the 62.294. I think in the end, Jana might think that was quite good, was her score. With 62, M was a bit mean on the marks. As we look at the marks here, 60.441 from M, who was Sarah Leach, the British judge, but 62.294 is the final score for Jana Kivimaki. Now, as we head to Stinner.
She's got a red lippy on ready, look at her.
Well, I tell you what, she's glammed herself up, but she is an extraordinary character, as you can see. No legs, but somehow riding in this very specially adapted, sort of almost bucket-like saddle. But this combination, Horsebow Smarties, have been very successful. 3rd in Rio, 3rd in Gothenburg. And I tell you what, she's on the charm of fences with the judges, isn't she? I tell you what, that smile stretches from here to Copenhagen.
It never, ever hurts to give the judges a big smile.
Yes, I have noticed there is definitely, whereas you see in the able-bodied dressage, they come in an absolutely stern face. There's a completely different approach in Para-Dressage. It's a grin away.
We're all smiles.
Melt them with your smile. And I tell you what, Stinner has certainly opened up. But I think what she will be thinking, now with with probably her and Pepe amongst the medal contenders, thinking there is a golden chance here at 70.735. That is gettable. And this is a horse who's used to this occasion. And so Stinner, the Danish rider, 44 years of age.
She's not 44. She's younger than me.
Is she?
Yeah.
What have I written? Where have I got 44 from?
I think she's about 23 or 24.
Well, I do her a major disservice.
I thought you'd done your homework,
Rupert. I've written 44 down here. What was I must have written that down for a very good. I tell you what, my maths must have. It must have been 1996 or something, and I must have had. I didn't have my glasses on. Well,
this is a really nice start from Stinner. I'll divert from you, Rupert, don't worry.
What was in my Haribo at lunch? Anyway, so...
Really lovely start. Just came a little bit above the bit in that transition to walk, but you can just see the difference between the consistency of the last few riders. I mean, she's had this horse for a number of years now, and she knows Smarties so well. She's done incredibly well at the beginning of this year, and she won all 3 days out in Belgium in April, and with the mid-70s. So she's going to be looking to get around the 74%.
Well,
I would have thought that would be her aim.
Well, she's kicking off. We haven't seen a 7.6 before from many, I don't think, in this grade 2, and I think she's right in there putting herself into the mid-70s already. So that's a tidy looking halt.
Yeah, not quite square,
no.
Just left his right hind out a little bit, but really nice and steady. and now she's coming into her leg yield. And I mean, imagine doing a leg yield with absolutely no leg, and this is where the whips come in. So this is a really difficult movement for Stinner, but look at that, she does such a phenomenal job. I just admire her so much.
Well, I mean, we've talked about her before. You just see, there's basically, she's sitting there with fundamentally her torso. She gets the control of the horse, and she's not strapped into that saddle. A lot of amputees actually have Velcro strapping them in, but she's got nothing to even strap in. She is absolutely incredible. That's a beautiful shape that she's created there. Just a little bit of losing rhythm when she hit the track at B, but she's regained it back, and he's looking so well. He's not a young horse. I think he's 16 years old this year. So I know she's got a younger one at home 17. Coming up, or 17. Not 44. Not 44.
Really lovely walk, and the fluency just speaks volumes in this, and she manages to do the trot walk transitions, and it just flows so much better than we've seen today.
Well, everything's in the mid-sevens at the moment. Everything is staying solid. It is different, and you can see this horse seems to know what he's got to do. So
yeah, again, just creeping above the bit a little bit in the transition. Oh, the bell's just gone. She hasn't gone wrong, has she? She's gone wrong. Oh no.
The bell has just gone. Second ride for it to go wrong.
Oh, what a shame.
Well,
who else went wrong?
Who else went wrong? It was Murillo Vaccaro went wrong.
Oh no. That's expensive. That's 2 marks from every judge.
That gets expensive, so...
It is, but she's ahead by 2%, so she might still be okay if she can pick up on the others. What's she forgotten? Her leg yield. She trotted instead of doing her leg yield. Well, that's good, because she didn't do a very good trot transition, so...
Yeah, but for one so experienced.
Lovely leg yield. Better this way. Much better this way. Again, can you see the difference between her and the rider from Finland? This horse just kept going in that walk rhythm. The rhythm never ever changes. That was a better trot transition. See, it was meant to be.
Meant to be, but let's see where 7.3, but it's still that the sound of the bell, not necessarily the sound of like the sword of Damocles hanging over her head, but it's certainly will be irritating and will have an impact. So 70.735, remind you, is Nicole Dendulk's score. And how costly will that?
Just losing a little bit of connection on that first loop in the Serpentine.
She's got to keep
better that way. She has. Much better second and third loops there. And I think, the change in the test order has confused a few people. We're so used to riding at normal internationals, we're so used to riding the team test first and then the individual test the second day. So to come to a championships and it be turned upside down and we have to ride it in a different order. And some of the tests are very similar, so you make transitions in similar places, and so that can get very confusing.
Well, everything marked though wise is over the sevens. I don't think I've seen anything, under the 6, under the 7. So that is suggesting that she's right there, but it's ultimately...
Lovely stretch in the free walk on the half 20-metre circle. The horse really stretched down and extended its stride. She picked up the reins nicely and now into another medium trot. Lovely. So they just have to show some medium trot strides across the diagonal. She probably could have gone for a little bit longer. She did half halt him quite early on.
Well,
but she got some in there, and that's all that matters.
Well, she's coming to the end and has finished. And the smile's back on the face, but probably inside there's a sort of little bit of Danish muttering going on.
Yeah, I don't want to use the pun, but she's probably kicking herself.
You could say that, I can't.
But no, she'll be disappointed that she went wrong, because that is going to be quite expensive, and she's been sitting on the 71-72%, and that could have been higher. That's a shame. Well,
and I think she'll be taking a long walk out, wondering when that score is going to come through. Remind you again, if you just joined, 70.735. The Dutch looking for currently in gold medal position as they try and win their second gold medal of the day. after Son of Wirtz took the Grade 4 classification in a brilliantly close fought event. She was first to go, but a couple of riders got tantalizingly close to overhauling her. But now we wait for the score with a great deal of interest here as Stinner exits the arena. And just confirming, 62.294 was the score for Jana Kivimäki. That's just been confirmed, or the confirmed score. But now we await to see what we get for Stinner, the Danish rider.
Yeah, I think she would have been aiming for a bit higher.
Here we go. She's into the gold medal position despite the error on course. It's 72.749 is her score. So she may have got away with it, and got away with it with now a convincing lead of over 2 points, 2 percentage points ahead of Nicole Den Dulk. So Denmark go into gold medal winning position with 2 more riders to go. And well, there's a Danish flag's been bashed on heads as they celebrate that moment as Stinner Tanger Kastrup goes into the gold medal position. And now 2 to go, and I think she might be sitting possibly as favourite, although Pepe Puig with his new horse may have a thing or two to say. But that is a wonderful chance for Stinner here with 72.676 is the score that they're putting up here. Is probably rounded off, but we'll confirm that. But now coming in is the Brazilian rider, Marcos Fernandez Alves and Vladimir. They come in, and
they're actually being led around by one of our Grade 5 riders. So that's Michelle Georges from Belgium, who was a medalist in pretty much every championships in the last few years. And it's always normally her, Sophie Wells and Frank Hosmar fighting it out for the gold medal position in the Grade 5. So she's taking a different role at these games and is training some of the Brazilian riders, which is nice to see.
Well, clearly has paid off, because they got a silver medal earlier.
Yes.
Wonderful performance from a rider who's had to come through serious adversity, but has come away. And now I refer to Rodolfo Riscala getting that silver medal, and he was seriously emotional after that. And there's Michel with the Brazil team shirt on, and well, just keeping the horse calm. Another one adopting to have a horse standing in the arena for Marcos. Obviously the big story is that Lee Pearson won't be adding to his tally of 30 gold medals or his numerous other medals, having retired his horse midway through his test. Never settled with his new horse, and bitterly disappointing for him. I'm sure he's very frustrated. Michelle exits stage left, having done her bit leading the horse round, and goes to stand next to the horse at the side of the arena to watch on and see how the Brazilian rider fares with Vladimir. And here he goes. And now off and beginning.
The horse seems to be having some tongue issues. So you get marks deducted for every time the horse pokes its tongue out to the side. But if it goes down, which this horse is doing, it shouldn't be penalised. So as long as it doesn't come out the side, he's all right.
And why would they be penalising if it goes out to the left or right?
Because that shows tension.
Okay.
Whereas some horses can just kind of have a saggy
You want a floppy tongue?
Yeah. Basically.
Basically. Right, because otherwise it might be pulling too hard on the
Yeah,
muscle.
I mean,
there
are some inconsistencies in this horse's contact. So, yeah, that will be losing him marks as well. Just like to see this horse bending a little bit more through its body, going down the long side before the 20-metre circle. It was actually bending to the outside. He seems to be struggling to get the horse going forward off of his aids. I just like to see it a little bit more purposeful. It's not really tracking up. Bit of tension coming up to the halt. Again, leaving a leg out and stepping backwards slightly in front as well. We haven't seen many square halts yet, have we?
I think I saw one good one early on. Or Nicole's was quite good.
Okay. And now into the leg yield. Keeping nice and parallel at the start. You can see when the rider asks a little bit more of the horse, that's when the contact issues start to creep in.
So the mark's looking around about mid-sixes, 64, 65%, which would move him into fourth spot, so into fifth spot.
So these riders in grade 1, 2 and 3 can also have their horses warmed up by a trainer as well. A maximum time of 30 minutes a day the trainer's allowed to be on for, and they have to be off 15 minutes before the test starts.
Because I saw you yesterday, you was like, what time do you get on? What time do you get off? So you're monitoring exactly how long your trainer was on.
And the stewards are there to keep an eye just to make sure that the rules are being followed. But yeah, they're allowed half an hour, and that just helps the horses. For myself, I can't allow the horse to stretch when I first get on. So my trainer gets on, does the stretching, does the warming up, and then when I get on, I can pick up the horse and go off and work it, and that works quite well for a lot of the riders in grade 1, 2 and 3.
The horse is warmed up, and then he's sort of, just exuberance.
Yeah.
From a safety perspective.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, from a safety perspective and a warm-up exercise as well. So it's very useful tool to have, and it's up to the rider whether they take up on that or not. But I know Michelle warms this horse up for this rider. Again, just using the whip there in replacement of his legs.
You can see Michelle standing, watching on in the corner of your picture with the other members watching on. Just feels more of a struggle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not as fluent. Yeah, it's not as fluent as Stinner's partnership with Smarties. There's just a few contact issues, and yeah, I'd just like to see it a little bit more forward. It's just having a little look at the podium there, approaching Kay. It seems like a really honest horse though. It looks very happy in its work.
Well, he's keeping it there or thereabouts. We're not having blips.
No.
And whatever level you're at, as long as you're trying to keep the horse is not suddenly throwing in a wobbly. Yeah,
you want to give the horse a nice experience, especially on the first day. You want to go in and give them confidence for the following days to come. So I think he's giving this horse a really good clear round.
Well, quietly going about his business, around about the 6.6 and 64, 65.
So this rider's riding with looped reins, so you can see the loop kind of just hanging there. So this is a free walk on a long rein. Just want the horse's nose to stretch out a little bit more. And then he'll be picking up the rein and regaining his loops like that, ready for his trot transition.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, he lost a bit of the connection when he picked up the medium walk. I would want that as my working trot the whole way round. That was a really nice working trot across the diagonal, and then I'd want to build on that for a medium trot. But, you know, it can be hard work for the riders to sit to a bigger trot.
Well, coming down the centre line to end what is the penultimate test in this Grade 2 individual championship here at the World Equestrian Games, and it's Marcos Fernandez Alvarez on the 16-year-old gelding, and he has completed his test. So just to confirm that Stinner is our leader with 72.735 is her confirmed score, and that is just 2 points, and when they've done all the rounding off, exactly 2 percentage points clear of Nicole Den Dulk. But it's another medal winning day for the Dutch, but now will it be a gold medal winning day for Stinner? And I know that would not be the most unpopular. She is a hugely popular character,
Definitely.
not only for the way she deals with her disability, but just by her sheer talent and her force of personality, because it is mighty.
Absolutely, and do you know what? I really think she deserves this. She's worked so hard for so long, and it just feels like her time right now. I've actually just had a message from Lee. He said, guys, something wasn't right today. I need to try and find out what. I'm so sorry. I'm massively disappointed, but I'm okay.
There you go. That is not many people will have had that, but that is a really moment from Lee Pearson. You're hugely disappointed, but what they do, go back. Presumably the horse is all right, but it's just a question of regrouping and getting mentally back in the ball game.
Yeah, definitely.
There is time. And
he hasn't been feeling well actually as well. I just forgot about that. He's got a bit of flu actually, so that might be that might be playing into it a bit as well. I don't want to make excuses for him, but you know, when you're not feeling 100%, your riding can be affected too.
Look, and also let's be quite clear: if you're not, it's hard enough for able-bodied people if you're feeling fluey.
Yeah.
You are actually dealing with physical disabilities, and let's be quite clear: Lee is quite seriously disabled, you know, and yet he is able to get around. Now, I know you're rooting for your mate Stinner here, but this guy knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
This man's incredible.
So let's not be, you know, it wouldn't be a surprise if with this new combination that he comes out and adds to his Roland on. It was Fontenoy who was his horse that was been so successful for him, but Sailor Blue has, I see, scored in a test.
Lombardo,
if you can try and read my writing there.
I'm trying.
That's why I can work out the age of Stinner. 74.461 he scored. So, but again, that on different circumstances. But what it says, you know, probably that's a bit higher than what we'd expect to see today. But it means he's capable.
He's definitely capable of a medal,
and
for sure.
I
wouldn't put anything past this man. He's quite extraordinary. He had a venting accident. He vented at an Olympic Games and had a fall, I think at home. But he is a phenomenal sportsman, and he always manages to pull it out of the bag.
Well, he was born in 1966.
I'll let you do the math.
Well, it means he's 52. He's born on the 10th of January. But how you...
He didn't have a great halt to start with, which has affected his marks. He's only coming out at 66%, but I think that'll creep up as we go. And again, he's got the fluency that Stinner had through the transitions. You know, they maintain the rhythm, they maintain the forwardness and the impulsion. Little loss of rhythm there at the start of that diagonal, but a huge overtrack with this horse in the walk. And he's going to be looking to try and get a better hold to A this time. I think my money could be on Stinner still.
You think?
I think she could.
Now let's see the horse. It's not foot perfect.
It's not perfectly square, and he's creeping up. He's now on the 70%. So I think it could be Stinner, Peppo, and Nicole. That's my early prediction in this class, but we'll see.
Well, I think probably with Lee going out, it sort of changed and transformed it in a sense that these are the big three you're referring to, and we're always the one. And while we always knew, and even when I was talking to Lee yesterday, he knew that this wasn't going to be an easy one to win.
Lovely leg yield. Really, really nice and parallel, keeping a good bend and lovely sideways steps. He's going to be grooving up. Yeah, 71.2. This is going to be tight, I think.
This could be. I tell you what, Stinner will be. I don't know where she is, whether she's in the mix zone or whether she's watching on the screen somewhere or arena side. But I'm sure she's. That smile is currently not on her face because she's seeing her great rival is once again proving that he's in control.
Yeah, just a little bit tense in that 20-metre circle. The horse was just coming behind the bit a little bit. I think that will be affected in the marks that will be coming up in a second. A 7.2 for that.
Well, the interesting thing is the marking saying that he's just behind the leader, Stinner. Remember, Stinner?
She went wrong.
She went wrong. So
yep.
In terms of her test, she was... It looked better than this. But obviously that mistake was costly. But it means that the doors are still open.
Yeah, I think the quality of Stinner's trot better, the quality of Peppo's walk is better. So that's going to be really interesting to see how the judges mark this. Peppo's got the advantage of obviously having legs, so that does help him with these leg yields. They're a lot more parallel than Stinner's were. Yeah, another good leg yield there.
This is why this sport is quite difficult to judge, because every rider has a different set of issues and presents different riding problems.
Yeah.
But somehow the judges have to just see and judge what they see, isn't it? And take everything out of, and is the horse responding? And
really lovely steps in the medium trot there. The horse was floating across the diagonal, just had a few contact issues going into it, which will affect the transition marks before and after. I just find it amazing how steady his horse's contact is, despite the amount of movement that he has in his body.
Well, he's
72.150.
It's very close. This is close. There's
another medium trot coming. Oh no.
The margins on this, and if Stinner loses out, she will know where she lost it, and she will be so upset by the mistake she made out on course. But at the moment,
I think she's still got it at the moment.
Just in front.
Hers was just slightly more fluent than this. You know, Smarty stayed in the outline, he stayed in the contact a lot more than this horse. But again, it's still really early days for this horse and Peppo, whereas Stinner is coming to the end of her relationship with Smarties. So, you know, that's where you can see the difference.
Well, it's very exciting for Peppo going forward. This new combination clearly.
Lovely steps.
Very
really
elegant.
Lovely.
There's lots of expression coming across the arena.
He just needs to keep that contact consistent, and I think that will come, and I think he can again build from that over the next few days, and that looks a bit more square, I think, as well. And he's happy.
Well, he's happy, but is it going to be a golden smile or a silver smile? Because I think he's done enough to beat Nicole Denduk to silver, but it's whether the judges have just thought it's good enough. It just seemed consistently he was a little bit behind, but not by much. 72.735 is the magic number for Peppo to add to his illustrious list of gold medals in Para-Dressage. And he finding a new horse and already has hit the ground running with yet another medal-winning performance. But it's a question, and there's a huge Austrian contingent who have unfurled a very lengthy flag, and there's plenty of them. Then you can maybe just pick them up as they cheer their man out of the arena. And will it be one that will see him win gold here? He's just coming out and he looks happy enough.
I think he's really, really happy, and I think that has secured him a silver medal, I reckon. We'll see.
Well, no, just waiting on the score. This is the moment. And I'm sure the judges will add a bit of sort of X-factor tension. And is he going to go into gold? No, he's going to go to silver. And Natasha's reaction tells you that that is so close. 72.676 is the final score for Beppo Puig. That is tantalizingly close. And I tell you what, Stina will be breathing a huge sigh of relief, because that error on course was nearly so costly, but she's held on, and the ever popular Danish rider Stina Tange Kastrup is our gold medalist here in the grade 2, 72.735. But Beppo Puig, well, so close, 72.676 with his new horse Sailor Blue. What an exciting prospect it is for the Austrian rider. But Nicole den Dulk wins another medal for the Dutch, 70.735. But the big surprise, the retirement of a clearly out-of-sort Styletta and Leah Pearson midway through their round. So those are the 8 riders who will be going through to the freestyle. But our medalists are Denmark is the gold medalist, Stina Kastrup the gold medalist, Beppo Puig in silver, Nicole den Dulk in the bronze medal position. Well, that's it for the time being. We'll be back in around about half an hour for the final competition of the day. That is the grade 5, and that will be again another fiercely fought competition. Do join Natasha and I for that.